Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to another declutter video. In this video, I will be showing you all of the blushes, cream blushes, bronzers, cream bronzers, and highlighters that I will be decluttering. So let's start now with the blushes. All right, starting out with the powder blushes, I have two KKW Beauty blushes. Now, these are actually really nice. I like the formula, very soft, but since this is no longer a brand, I just don't see any need to have them in my collection. Next up, we have this from the canceled pretty much brand of Saints, Angels, and Sinners. If you don't know, well, you can look it up on Reddit, but I no longer support this brand. I did actually like this blush, but I will never represent this brand ever again. Next, we have this little heart-shaped blush from Temu. Now, this is actually pretty good. I wanted to test it out and see how it performed, and it did perform well, but it honestly just looks like little kid makeup, so I'll probably give this to my daughter. Now, I do like the butter blushes from Physicians Formula. For me, and you'll see some of this here in a minute as well, this is a packaging issue. I used to not understand why people hated this packaging, and that was before my collection got huge. And now if it's really bulky, it's just so hard to store. So I do like this formula. I just wish that they would quit making it so chunky. Next up, this is actually a blush from a private label. And funny story, I thought I was going to have my own makeup brand about 2 years ago. I knew nothing about private label at the time. I looked into this one source in China. Got stuff sent over. I got blush, highlighter, lipsticks, eyeshadows, and they all performed really well. And then I realized, oh, private label means anyone can buy that stuff, put their name on it. It's not unique. It's not a unique formula. And even though it's really good, I mean, there's no need for me to keep these anymore. Obviously, I didn't start a beauty brand, but this also just taught me a lot about private label, and now I can spot it because I own ones that I know for sure are. Next up, we have these two from Benefit. Now, I was so excited when I found these in a pack, a set at TJ Maxx for really cheap, but these just do not do that well for me. They just don't show up. I don't love the shades. If I can get this open, what is this one? Sunny Golden Peach. Yeah, they're just a little, well, I can't get these open, but they're a little bit too light for me. Same thing with the bronzers that I'll show you here in a minute. I'm not really sure who these are for very light skin tones, I guess. Then we have this Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a trio blush. I did get this from TJ Maxx a long time ago. I've had it so long that I just think it's time to let it go. I actually think it's really pretty. I like that you have these two soft mattes, and then you've got this one with the little sparkles, but I never used this for some reason. I just think like a family member might use it more than me. Okay, next we have a couple of SheGlam blushes. I've had these in my collection for a really long time. They've started to go a little bit bad, I think. I probably had these for 3.5, 4 years, maybe, something like that. Probably about 4 years. This one, it was just a little bit too deep, but I do love that they offer some of these deeper colors. They have all kinds of shades, which is good to be inclusive. This one is a little bit too light for me. I do like the imprint. I think that's cool. This one has the sparkles in it. Same thing with this one, was a little bit sparkly, but I think this one is definitely starting to go a little bit bad. Moving on to this one here, MOTD Makeup of the Day. This came in, I believe, it was Ipsy or Boxy, I'm not sure which. And this is the one that as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is a nipple blush. Like, this looks like a nipple. It is so unappealing to me. I couldn't get over it. So I was like, I'm never using that. This was my favorite blush for a long time, but this is so old. I probably had this for 5 years. It smells like peach. It was so beautiful, like the perfect warm peach blush, but I've had it for way too long. This Bare Minerals, I don't mind this. It's just not a color of blush I really go for very often, but the formula is nice. Now with this Milani, this is just so light. Wait, yeah, it is a blush. I thought for a second this was a bronzer. It's a blush, but there's just not really a color to it. So I like the formula, don't like the color. This one was a little bit too deep for me, and I did get this at TJ Maxx, and it was a little dried out. I do love a lot of the other shades in this formula. I think this would be really pretty on a deep skin tone. And then this Blush Mellow, this is from BUDGETBEAUTY. I did really like this formula when I first got it, but it has kind of dried out. It's supposed to have this kind of squishy, soft, bouncy quality to it, but it did get a little dried out. Next up, we have these cream products. So the Fluffy Blushies from Pacifica. I loved these when I first got them, but they dried out so fast. It was so hard to pick up. I mean, let's see if I can get it open. Look at this. It's like a desert. It's a shame because the shades were really pretty. Started out great, but just, man, they dried up. That's kind of the problem sometimes with blushes like that. Okay, next we have these 3 from Kaja. I'm sure you've seen these before. They are the heart stamps. I do like this formula, actually. I think they're cute, but for me, this is a packaging issue. It is too bulky. 3 of these in my blush drawer takes up so much room, so that's why they are going, even though I do like the way they look. Now, this is Kaylee Cosmetics. They have skincare. I talked about them in my skincare video. They claim to be the only true clean beauty brand, and I just don't really believe that. But we have this blush and bronzer duo here that just, it actually performed really well. I liked it, but when you don't have something separating, they cross over. It's just messy. I mean, you can see how messy it is. I don't even want to deal with it. This Alley-Oop is one of those that twists like this. So you have the blush, the bronzer, and then on the top is the highlighter, a cream highlighter. Cute in theory, probably good for traveling, but I don't really like this highlighter shade. It's just not something I ever reach for, and it is bulky. The last 2, this is a brand that just disappeared. I have no idea where they went. So it was this liquid blush, and it's the only red that I own. So I did like it, but it dried up so fast. I want to find another red like that. And then this is the Too Faced. I used to love this. It's strawberry. It smells like strawberry, but I don't know if I can get it off. Anyway, I don't think they even make this anymore. It's definitely expired. I probably had this for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. All right, now let's move on to the highlighters. All right, so here are the highlighters I am decluttering. Let's start with the powder highlighters. We have this one from Catrice. This was so popular about 2-3 years ago. It is massive. Like, you would never pan this sucker. Maybe it was if it was your only highlighter and you worked on it forever, but I felt like it started to just not perform as well as I remembered. Either that or it just wasn't ever as good as I thought that it was. But in the beginning, I loved this thing. But yeah, I've used this so many times and you can't even tell. And it's huge. So I just wanted to make more room. Let that one go. This one by Mora is also pretty big. You can tell. I don't love this one because it's a little too glittery as far as like showing some texture. It's gorgeous looking here. It really is, but it just is a little too chunky for me, but it is really pretty. Then we have this LA Girl Strobe Lighter. I used to really love this. I think it just kind of got old. It just looks a little bit dry on. Now, this Kiko Milano is actually one of my absolute favorites. I just have 2 of them, and I don't even really know how that happened. So just to make room, I decided to get rid of it. I have so many highlighters. I just don't, wait, this is the blush. That should have been in the blushes. Okay, no, I take that back. I guess I decided to keep 2 of my highlighters. This is a blush. Okay, well, I did like this. I think I'm decluttering this one because it's old, maybe? I don't know. It still looks really pretty. I'm not sure why it's in here. That's funny. Okay, well, Kiko Milano does pretty well with their blushes and their highlighters, by the way. Moving on to Essence. Now, everybody loved these highlighters about 3 years ago. You would see them, this is the highlighter, this is the sunlighter. You would see them on Pinterest, like you would see them compared to, Anastasia Beverly Hills. Like, I never really liked these. They just didn't do anything for me. They didn't really show up. I'd have to keep building and building, and then all of a sudden I would have texture. So I never loved these like everyone else. Now this She Glam is actually really pretty. It's kind of a duo one. I think it's just getting old. I've probably had it for 3.5, 4 years. That's why I'm getting rid of it. Now, just like I mentioned the private label before, that is what this is. It was a private label highlighter that came, so I just do not need that. This Kylie Cosmetics highlighter is not the right shade. It's just not really for me. And honestly, it wasn't very pretty on either. I thought it was pretty dry. This Juvia's Place is also not my favorite. And look how giant this packaging is for how small amount of highlighter you get. It's a little bit silly. See if I can get this off. Okay, I just had to set the phone down. Here's what it looks like. It actually looks really, really, really pretty. But look, I mean, you get this little amount in this giant packaging. So even though I do think it's pretty, it just takes up way too much space. This Norns highlighter from Odin's Eye, I never really loved this one either. It looks like it would be really pretty. It just is not very impactful. It's a little bit chunky. I just don't like the formula. Now this Nomad highlighter, they don't carry these anymore. This is kind of, I did keep a few of them, and I did keep the blush that's in the same packaging, but it is pretty bulky. And this one is just okay. It's not my favorite highlighter. I never really reached for it. Now, this one is a highlighter from Black Radiance, and I think it would be gorgeous on a deep skin tone. I tried to use it as like a shimmery bronzer, but it's a little too purple to do that for me, so it just looks muddy. But man, if you have a deep skin tone, this would be gorgeous. Okay, now here are the cream ones or jelly. So I loved these Too Faced jelly highlighters. I mean, these are old though. I have had these for 3.5 years, something like that, and they are now kind of dried out. But man, I used to use those all the time. These were never very good. These are the e.l.f. jelly ones. They just did not perform very well. I think pretty much anyone that tried these didn't really love them. Now, these are pretty, but they're from She Glam. But they are pretty chunky, sparkly. They're liquid, but they're not very smooth on. But they're pretty, like if you wanted to put them on your shoulders or your chest. I never liked these. I found these, I think, at TJ Maxx, and this is supposed to be a really, really nice brand, but they're too dry and thick to really mix in with the foundation, because you're supposed to be able to do that. And then on their own, they just lifted foundation and never really, they were just already too dry. So they never looked pretty on. We have, oh, one more cream. Or liquid. This is Anastasia Beverly Hills. Honestly, this is gorgeous, but I think I have 2 of these other than this one. So I'm just going to give it to a family member. I don't use it enough to justify having 3. And then these are all stick highlighters that this one kind of lifted foundation, the Creme Shop. This one is definitely not my shade. It's very deep golden. And then this one by Hard Candy, I did like actually, but it just kind of got a little, well, no, it's still pretty balmy. I think I just decided I needed to let some things go. This isn't that bad, but I just needed to make space. All right, next up we have the bronzers. So I accidentally left these two out. I'm going to splice this into the video somewhere. This is a KKW Beauty highlighter. Honestly, this is really, really pretty, but since it doesn't exist anymore as a brand and I like to use things I can actually share that people can pick up, I'm letting it go, giving it to a family member. And then this is like a little bitty brand that I didn't really understand yet, private label. So I did buy this, and you guys have probably seen these highlighters everywhere from all kinds of brands. They're all private label. If you see a highlighter that looks like this, it probably cost them about $1, $2, and then they mark it up. It's actually stunning. But I mean, you can get these off Temu for like literally $2. Okay, so here are the bronzers that I am decluttering. First up, we have this one from Kiko Milano. I actually did like this a lot. It kind of smelled similar to the Butter Believe It bronzer from Physicians Formula, but I've had this for a good 3.5 years or so, and it's so big. It's honestly, the packaging's beautiful, but it's just expired now. I've had it for long enough and I need to make room. We have this Bronze Glow Duo from Joa Beauty. Oh, I'm not going to be able to get it open. Okay, this was actually not bad. I think the issue for me, if I can get it, here we go, got it open. Okay, it's really that the highlighter is too deep. It could be a bronzer topper, but I just decided I'd used it enough. I liked it, but I have others I like better. This Anastasia Beverly Hills I got in Ipsy or Boxy. So it is this trio. We do have a bronzer, a highlighter. I don't like the highlighter shade in here. It's just okay. Someone else could use it in my family. We have this little duo from Wet n Wild. I do actually really like this, but I have a couple of others from Wet n Wild, so I'm just going to let it go. I didn't use this one as much. Look, I broke my nail trying to get that other one open. So that's why, since I don't use this, I don't need something that takes up space like that. This Revolution Pro highlighter is very chunky, or sorry, it's a bronzer, but it's very chunky, like sparkly. It could be pretty on the chest. That's what I've used it for, but on the face, no. Same thing with this Milani. It's supposed to be shimmery, but it just kind of stopped performing. I used to like this. I think it's honestly expired. These two from Believe Beauty. I love the formula. Really, really good formula. This one's too deep, and this one is too light for me. Now, this Skin Lights, I did used to like this one too, but I had a hard time picking it up anymore. So I think it's just maybe old. Same thing with their highlighters I've had for a really long time. So I think this is just an expiration issue. Now, this is a product that everyone loves, and okay, West Coast. From Tower 28, I could never get this to look good on me. It picked up foundation. It was not good. It barely showed up. Everyone loves this, but it did not work for me. I guess I jumped the gun and went to some cream, so I'll just do these real quick. These are all from Juvia's Place, and honestly, these are foundation sticks. I got them thinking I could do foundation and bronzer. These all lean so warm. And I can do warm, but these are like orangey warm. The formula is fantastic. This is a shade issue for me. Next, we have this Kaja Bento. So we do have a highlighter, a blush, and a bronzer in here. This is not bad. It's pretty good. I just never reached for it, and it just takes up space being this type of packaging. Now, I do love this formula so much from Kimchi Beauty. I have one that I kept that is perfect for me, but this one is just not the right shade. As you can see, it's very, very, very warm, kind of orange leaning, but the formula is fantastic. So I kept the other one, getting rid of this one. And then these two from Benefit. Again, everyone loves the Hula. It just doesn't show up on me. I don't know what it is, but same thing with this Dallas one here. Too light or just don't show up, so that's why they're going. That is it, you guys. That is all of my declutter. Stay tuned for more declutters. Thank you for being here. Bye.